Arabian fragrances dominate my collection, but these are the ones that are doing the real work. Anybody can show you the fragrances they own, but these are the fragrances that I actually wear. These Arabian fragrances I've loved loud, worn hard, and reached for without thinking. This video isn't about hype, it's about habits. In this video, I'm going to be sharing my 10 most worn Arabian fragrances of 2025. If you're curious, stick around and let's get into it.
Give me just a little bit more of what I've been missing. We got time to act distant.
These fragrances are not for show, they are for wearing. Hi, I'm Jeanique and I love these Arabian fragrances because I like to save money and I like smelling amazing, and those two things go together. So I've been wearing these Arabian fragrances down. I do not discriminate when it comes to my fragrances. Price point does not determine priority in terms of what gets worn. It's what do I feel like today? Who do I want to be? And these Arabian fragrances have tickled all my fancies since I got into them several years ago. I've done very many videos on them. We have brands like Khadlaj and Armaf. We have Paris Corner, Lattafa, all showing up in this video as faves that got worn down the most in 2025. So if you are curious about what someone with a massive perfume collection is actually wearing from the Arabian perfume world, you got me to tell you, because I'm going to do exactly that. Let's get into it.
Time to act distant. You don't know what you're doing to me. Let me.
So looking at all of the fragrances in front of me, I am surprised by the fact that only one fragrance from a similar kind of video from 2 years ago repeats here. So I guess some of my oldie but goodies like Nabras and Camera just didn't get heavily worn in 2025. Oh my God, I didn't even realize I need to prioritize them more because I do love me some Nabras and it's January. It's going on the fragrance tree. That's all I'm saying. But a lot of newbies and some oldies did get worn a lot more in 2025 and there's some good dents here, y'all. So we're gonna go through everything. I'm going to start off with the brands that I only have 1 or 2 bottles from and then work my way through, because do we have a lot of Lattafa? We do, because I have more of that brand than a lot of other Arabian fragrance houses. Let's start off with a fragrance that most people will not be surprised by because I've talked about this fragrance at length. This is the only repeat from 2 years ago, but I just wanted to share that it's very much still a big part of my sort of fragrance wardrobe. I still wear it very regularly. People often ask that you talked about this fragrance 2 years ago. Are you still wearing it? Do you still have it? I do. I still have it. And this is Armaf's Club de Nuit Imperial in the white bottle. Now, this is a dupe of Jeanique exclusive from Parfums de Marly, but it sort of brings in more of the original Jeanique into this one. So it's like a hybrid of the two. And this is one of my favorite fragrances overall, not just Arabian fragrances, and it's also one of my most worn. I took this on vacation with me when I went to the States in December, and it's such a dressy fragrance. I feel really sexy and put together when I put it on. I smell very expensive when I wear it. The sillage on this is really strong. It's the rose and it's very loud. This for me is the right amount of loud. It's the right amount of smoke. It really is the best combination of this sweet, almost marshmallowy vanilla sort of feel with rhubarb, rose coming together to create something that is undeniably just sexy and alluring, and such a beautiful, highly complimented fragrance. Not at all underrated. Everybody knows it smells good and it's one of my favorites, and it's still one of my most worn fragrances 2 years later. Next up, this is Fursan from Khadlaj. This is my only Khadlaj fragrance that it is one of my most worn. Now, I've had this fragrance for about a year. I don't think you can see the dent. It's about here, I would say. It's a fair bit. Now, this I would say is a more unisex, leaning feminine, just a little bit of vanilla fragrance that's a little bit spicy. It is not as sweet. It's really thick and creamy and perfect for winter. It feels like a far more like serious vanilla fragrance, and it is just really beautifully done. The spiciness in here is not over the top. It doesn't lean into that sort of element too hard, just splashes of it. There's also something in here that smells a little bit smoky to me that makes it feel like a little bit dark, mysterious, and just a really nice grown-up vanilla fragrance that you'd wear out in the evening time, especially if it's cold out. This is a perfect sort of wintry vanilla scent, and I've been getting a lot of wear out of it since fall. I think it's perfect for that, and I think this is a really lovely one, and it's a nice crowd pleaser for me as well. Now let's jump over to Swiss Arabian, since we're talking vanillas and other things, so let's talk about those. Right here we have Shagaf Oud, right? Now Shagaf Oud, don't let the name intimidate you because you may not like oud. I'm not an oud fan myself, but that's not what this smells like. This just smells like a woodier vanilla. So I would say this is a spicy, smoky vanilla, and this is a woody vanilla. I mean, it's tonka, but tonka smells like vanilla, just like more almondy and a little bit creamy and maybe not as sweet. Basically, you get the vibes. That with a heavier dose of woodiness and a little bit of dry smokiness. So not as spicy as the first one. So that one feels a little bit more sultry nighttime. This feels like something that's a little bit cleaner, something you could wear to work. There is something in here that smells coconutty. I don't think it's a coconut. I think it's a tonka that's giving off like an almondy kind of vibe, but it does smell like there's coconut in here. That sort of spy coconut that isn't over the top. This is I think one of the best Swiss Arabian does. It is a really good, serious, everyday, daytime, sort of creamy fragrance for winter that doesn't read too heavy, too over the top, too spicy, too anything. It just feels really elevated and classy and really grown to me. And the next one, this is maybe like a bonus item, I guess, is L'Oeil Rouge from Swiss Arabian. Now, this is a perfume oil. You can tell right here with the stick. Now, this is basically tropical fruit on steroids. It's really sticky, heavy. It's mango, papaya, pineapple, all coming together. It is a tropical fruit punch, really ratcheted up and gotten like really thick, concentrated and heavy. Just put a little bit on the wrist, not a little bit if you don't want to do too much. And I really like having this as a perfume oil because I do be oiling up every day, not with this, with regular body oil. I just put these on the pulse points to just, I don't know, soothe my senses, but also as a pulse point option to lay my fragrances down. It is great for layering other fragrances over top, other sweet fragrances. And because I wear a lot of sweet fragrances, this has been a nice addition to help my fragrances last a little bit longer. Why just use regular body oil from, I don't know, Neutrogena, when you can also do a just sort of scented body oil that goes with a lot of things. And because I wear a lot of tropical fruit smelling fragrances already, this has been a nice addition. Now, I do have other fragrance oils that serve other purposes depending on the fragrance I'm wearing for the day. But as it turns out, this is the one that I ended up wearing the most because I was in my sweet girl era in 2025. And because of that, this one got a lot of play out of me from Swiss Arabia. Next, we're going to talk about Rasasi fragrances because I didn't realize we got 2 Rasasi fragrances in the top and most worn fragrances for 2025, but Rasasi did this big one. Now, I think of Rasasi fragrances as slightly more understated, often less spicy than some of the other brands and a little bit more classic in what they are giving. Now, this is Hawas for her from Rasasi. This is often described as a more like woody floral. No. That's not what I get personally from this fragrance and not why I love it. No, the main notes for me, it's praline. You really get that sweet dessertiness. Iris, which gives a little bit of powderiness, making this feel a little bit airier. There is some apple in here offering some sweetness. There might be some pomegranate as well. I think there's a little bit of white florals like jasmine in here and some woodiness. There's a little bit of vetiver, making it feel like that airiness that we get from the iris, that little bit of powderiness, gives a little bit of an edge, right? So this feels like a pretty classic, warm floral fragrance that's been sweetened by a gourmand element and made just a dash bit more grown and assertive because of the vetiver. Like, it's not doing too much, but this is an easy reach fragrance, and that is why the dent is where it's at. It's like, I'm running to work, I don't know how to wear it, spray. Hawas is going to work really well. It feels grown, elevated, but classic at the same time. Just updated for a modern feel because of those gourmand elements. And I really enjoy this one. It doesn't feel too heavy on the body because of the iris. It's just an easy reach, easy wear fragrance with a little bit of attitude. She's kissing our teeth. She's kissing our teeth. Kissing our teeth, but also in a suit. You know what I mean? Like, that is the vibe of Hawaii. The next one that I want to talk about from Rasasi is Cosmat Ebhar. I get excited about this one, and I don't know why, because the notes aren't that different. It is not that different. I guess this one feels just a little bit more youthful, a little bit more playful, just a little bit more fun. I don't know. I'm just really into Cosmat Ebhar. I stay recommending this to people. There is a citrus element in here. I think coming from green apple and not actually citrus, but it smells citrusy, almost like yuzu. It's really beautiful. Okay, the notes in the two of them aren't that different. There's also praline, orris root, which is basically iris, just the root of the iris and a little bit earthier. I think there's also jasmine in here. It's a lot of repeats in terms of the notes. There is no vetiver in this one, so no smokiness. The sweetness in this is more. The powderiness is not as powdery. It's more airy and cloud-like and light on the body. This just feels very sweet, very dainty, very girl next door. This feels a little bit more youthful and playful, and I really enjoy this one. This is a warm floral with a sweeter edge. The praline in this, surprisingly, isn't as heavy as it is in Rasasi. It just feels a little bit more delicate. That's what it is. It's just like a delicate little sweetheart right here. Technically, I got 5 Paris Corner, but the Paris Corner fragrances are basically from the same line. So I'm gonna leave Lattafa for last because I'm going to sort of collapse a lot of the Paris Corner fragrances because I wore fragrances from the same line a lot. Looking at you, Kair. Kair had me in a chokehold. I have 4 Kair fragrances, y'all. One of them is not here because I got it so late. It could not make it into this list, but it got worn a lot when I got it. So I tried to figure out which of these 3 had the biggest dent. And technically, I think I wore pistachio the most. When I first unboxed these and talked about it in a haul, I will link that video as well. I was most disappointed with this one, not because it doesn't smell good. It smells really good. It's just not as close to Yum Pistachio Gelato from Kayali as I wanted it to be. But as it turns out, it was a very easy reach fragrance. Like, if I'm gonna get my nails done, this was like the one that I put on. I was going to just run an errand. I reached for this a lot because it wasn't too sweet or assertive. It just sat on the body kind of lightly and nicely, and so it was a good one to like grab and go with. And people around me enjoyed how I smelled a lot when I was wearing pistachio, so I think it has the biggest dent of the 3. But the one I enjoyed the most and the one I want to talk about the most is Confection. All of these 3 got worn a lot, almost the same amount, but I'm going to say Confection was the one of the 3 that I enjoyed the most. Now, this one felt like more fun. So if I was going out for drinks in the evening, if I was doing something really fun and exciting and playful, and I just wanted to be happy, I would reach for Confection. Now, this one is a dupe of Kayali's the Candy Rock Sugar, vanilla Candy Rock Sugar, and it smells so close to it. So Confection for me was a really exciting addition to my collection because I ended up wearing it more than I thought I would. I know a lot of people think of this one as a little bit juvenile, and it is. It feels very young. It feels like 16 in a lot of ways. So when I want to lean into my 16-year-old self, Confection did the trick for me, and I very much enjoyed this one a lot, and I'm glad I picked it up. I most recently picked up Felicity, I want to say in December, and I've been wearing it a lot since then. I think it's one of the best of this line, y'all. And now there's that one called Peach Delulu. The reviews are terrible though, so I don't know what to think. I'm not in a rush. If I can get a sample, I'm not blind buying that shit. But if I can get a sample somewhere, I will try it out, because sometimes people hate stuff and I like it, and sometimes people say it's terrible and I enjoy it. So maybe, possibly, I don't know. The next line I want to talk about, and I think potentially wore even more, maybe not. It was close. It was close from the Minia line. This is Minia Green, or just like the original Minia. And this is Minia Cocoa. No, I don't even know which one I want to talk about. Quickly want to say, this one got worn more. So we're going to talk about this. But I want to say on a sideline, when I first tried this, I thought it was mid as fuck. I really did. I was like, it's alright. Y'all, it grew on me in the biggest way. This is a coconut fragrance. It is so creamy and yummy. It's like all the best parts of coconut. It's like sweet coconut, spicy coconut, suntan lotion coconut. It's coconut and overload. And it was just so warm and comforting and cozy, especially in the wintertime. I've been spraying this down so much recently. It just didn't get as much play throughout the year because it didn't feel as exciting. But the more I wore it, the more I grew to love it. Do I love it more now than this? I don't know. They close, y'all. But this one got the biggest like use out of me, out of the two of them. And this is Mini Green. Also, this one is a crowd pleaser. Like everybody I know who I've, let try this has told me how much they love it because it's that good. Now, it smells to me. I don't know if it's meant to be duping Sol de Janeiro Charosa 62, that lovely like pistachio caramel fragrance. I don't know if that's the point, but it smells like that to me with a heavier dose of coconut. There's so much creaminess and thickness in this. It feels like the epitome of a tropical vacation scent to me. It is caramel. It is nutty. It is heaven. It smells so good. It smells spicy. It smells relaxing. It is beautiful, this fragrance. And I wish I heard more about it because I feel like people are sleeping on Mini Green. I need to tell y'all to stop it. Now we're down to the final brand, y'all. It is, oh my goodness. Serre. You know what? I'm not going to go for it. I also wore Serre a lot. Serre from Lattafa. I don't think the dent is as big as the ones for these, to be fair though, but I wore it a lot. So just keep that in mind. So my most worn of all the Lattafa fragrances, it isn't even close. It was Armaf. I wore Armaf a lot. Like you see this dent right here. You want to know, okay, so this is a fragrance that dupes Burberry Goddess, right? The dent in Burberry Goddess is even bigger than this. Burberry Goddess is in half. Because as it turns out, I wore a lot of vanilla in 2025. Not because of the vanilla hype, because I've been on the vanilla train all this time. I never got on or got off. I was born on the vanilla train, basically. And so I have both, and I've been wearing both a lot, right? And Armaf is one of those that I really enjoy. I know it's not for everybody. There are some notes in here people find a little bit too sharp, but I didn't have an issue with this on my body. I find this to be a beautiful vanilla, lavender, ginger scent with a sweeter dry down. It comes out fresher than we would expect for a vanilla fragrance, and it just develops beautifully on the skin. Now, Lattafa took a couple of pivots as far as how it separated itself from Goddess by making the lavender just a little bit more muted in this and the ginger a little bit louder. So that is something to keep in mind. It is not an exact dupe of that fragrance. The changes they made, I fully enjoy because I do love ginger and I prefer ginger over lavender when it comes to vanilla fragrances, as much as I do enjoy lavender as well. So I very much leaned in heavy to this one. I also find the dry down of the original Burberry Goddess to be a little bit sweeter and more gourmand swelling to me. This one, the ginger stays all the way through, and so the dry down is a little bit spicier than that one. So that is also something to keep in mind. But I have really been enjoying this one, and of all of my Lattafa fragrances, y'all, this is the winner. This is the winner. This is the most. This is the most worn of all of them. And you know what? I crown you. This is a good one. This might be the most worn. No, maybe it's Hawas. I don't know. Shockingly, or maybe not shockingly, I don't know. We'll talk about the fact that I wore Yara Moy as much as I did. No, people talk shit about Yara Moy about it being the worst of the Yaras. Stop it. Look at me. Stop hating on florals. This is not the worst. Objectively, if you don't like florals, on the other hand, I can see how you might not like this as much, right? Because the other ones are gourmand fragrances. There is the light pink, the original Yara, which is like, they say it's caramel. It mostly smells like very light strawberry milk to me. Anyway, that one, that's the worst one, objectively. Then you have the Yara 2, which is the one, the yellow with the mango, that's the best one. That's the best one. That's the best one. It's easy. Did not wear it nearly as much in 2025 for some reason. I do not know why. This one, on the other hand, got a lot of wear out of me. This was a go-to work scent for me. I was just in the mood for it on a regular basis. I would just be spraying it down, just rushing out the door. When I didn't want to have to think about what to wear and what was like work appropriate, I would just reach for Yara more and go out the door and feel confident in how I was smelling. Knowing that the people around me enjoy what I smell like when I wore this, I just ended up reaching for it on a regular basis when I was rushing out the door and didn't want to have to think about my fragrance for the day. And so Yara more, and I'm excited to share that with you because you don't have to spend a lot of money to smell amazing, go to work and get compliments, y'all. This is proof of that. And also, don't let the internet trick you out of liking this fragrance. Everybody hates on it, save for a handful of people. And it's not about this fragrance not smelling good, because it does. It smells really lovely. It's really because I think it's a very floral forward fragrance, and you gotta love a classic floral to get into Yara more. I don't know if it's duping something, or if I did know, I've forgotten. I'm going to look it up for you just to see, to give you some sort of frame of reference of like what it is similar to if you are curious. Give me a second. 3.65, y'all. People be hating. People be hating. It's jasmine, peach, caramel, amber, patchouli, and sandalwood. Like, those are the listed notes. And it is compared to Marc Jacobs Perfect Intense. Maybe. I don't have Perfect Intense. Maybe. I don't know. I can't like make that comparison for you. I am sorry. But it is a nice classic floral fragrance if you like a nice classic floral jasmine fragrance, basically. Last up from Lattafa with one honorable mention is Her Confessions. I was just talking about Her Confessions and how I've been wearing this down. It is a creamy floral fragrance with a beautiful sillage. There's a little bit of incense in the base to give it a little bit of body. It smells really alluring and flirty and sexy. There's a lactonic element to this that gives milky realness. You gotta love florals and milkiness together in a fragrance to enjoy this. The bottle is fire. This was a low-key, a bit of an obsession for me. I was sharing it with everybody who would listen. Here's the thing, and maybe this is like funny or not funny. I find this to be like a good example of an Arabian fragrance to people. Like, when people talk about dupe fragrances and like, do they smell like quality or not? This is one of the ones that I will share with people to be like, here's an example of one that does not smell fake or anything like that. It just smells good in and of itself. And if you did not know it was duping something, and you didn't know if it was inexpensive, you looked at the bottle, you looked at the quality, you felt the real metal, you would be impressed. But when you hear dupe, you automatically turn your mind away. So I like introducing people to a dupe fragrance using Her Confessions, because I think it's a good representative of what dupes can do if you don't focus on that particular like line item, because it's just well done and well blended. Do I still want Blanche Bette? I've just talked about it in my last video. Of course I do. Of course I do. But I've really enjoyed wearing this all year because this is a lovely one. Finally, honorable mention. This is, the dent in this is solid. It's not as big as the other, so it did not make it into the top 10. But if I had an 11th, this would be the 11th spot easy. It wouldn't have been Sarah. Sarah would be like number 15 probably, based on like everything else. But this would have been number 11, and it was on the table. I just had to count things and I was like, shit, it's not. I'm putting in the video. I'm going to tell you. This is Body Al Oud, Honor and Glory. Funnily enough, 2 years ago, Body Al Oud Sublime was in that video because that was a most worn for that year. But Honor and Glory, I know it's not for everybody. There is a black pepper note in here. I was just talking, because it was my scent of the day, like, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, potentially, like since this month, and I posted it on TikTok. You should follow me on TikTok, link in the description. I was talking, it was my scent of the day like 2 weeks ago, and somebody commented, a fragrance friend of mine commented and was like, yeah, that black pepper note is really sharp and I have a hard time. I was like, fair, that's fair. And I don't know, like I don't read it as harsh or as sharp on my body when I put it on. I just feel a little bit sexier and a little bit more attitudey. I really do enjoy how it makes me feel and how it makes me smell. And so I ended up wearing this a fair bit, especially in the last 6 months once things started to cool down. I was not wearing this in the summer, obviously, but I was wearing this come fall, and I've been wearing this a lot. And this is one of those things as well where this fragrance is hit or miss for people. I know a lot of men who wear this fragrance and they have a lot of great things to say about it, but a lot of women I know find the black pepper note to be a little bit aggressive for their sensibilities. And as much as I love a feminine fragrance, you can see from my choices here, this is one of the ones that leans more unisex that I wore a lot of in 2025. Side note, I was in New York City, one of the places that I went to when I was in the States, and I went to a fragrance shop, y'all, and I tried the one in the powder pink bottle that has not great reviews. People say it doesn't smell great, and I didn't want to blind buy it because the reviews were really scaring me. Sharita had done a review and she said it was good, and I was like, okay, maybe. And then I saw other reviews and people were talking me out of it, and I just didn't want to pull the trigger when there were other things I was sure I wanted. I wanted to prioritize those. And then when I tried the other one in store in December, put it on my skin and walked out the store and walked around, I was like, oh my goodness, I really love that milkiness, that creaminess, that powderiness. I really enjoyed that one. So I'm definitely picking up the pink one for this, but not the purple. The amethyst was a little aggressive. It's supposed to be duping an initial fragrance. There are a few fragrances that I tried at that Arabian shop in New York that are now on the list. Mystique Bouquet, that is on the list. There are a few fragrances on the list that I tried there that I really enjoyed. So yeah, I wanted to share my most worn Arabian fragrances with you. I'll continue to bring you like tea about Arabian fragrances because I have so much to say about them, but I'm considering that the next video I could do is my most worn non-Arabian fragrances, because there are some serious dents there from designer fragrances, from celebrity fragrances, and from niche fragrances that I've been wearing down as well. That I have 2 bottles of Kate Spade Sparkle, and I think both of them are halfway done. So I think that's on the list. Also, Jimmy Choo I Want Choo is basically finished because it is one of my most complimented, and sometimes I'm thirsty for attention, so I put it on so people can tell me I smell good. I'm not, it is what it is. It is what it is. I may come to you with that video because there are some surprises there and some ones that did not repeat from previous years that I love that just did not get a ton of attention from me in 2025. Lenny Waitress, where I'm looking at you because I usually wear that down. I did not wear it down as much in 2025. So yeah, I might do that video as well if y'all are interested, or I might just do something completely different. I'm not sure. But thank you for being here with me and sharing in, my Arabian perfume obsession and all the fragrances that I wore down. And I hope you enjoyed this video, subscribed, did all the things, and you are planning to come back. Again, I'm Jeanique, a lover of all kinds of Arabian scents, and I want to share that love with you because you deserve to smell good and not overspend. You're welcome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.